Demand 100 grand, Ross, but the rock never stops. It's time to have a heart to heart, real conversation about Tyrese Haliburton. Um, as Detroit Piston fans, those who have followed the inner division rivalry against the Indiana Pacers, we've talked a lot of shit about the Indiana Pacers. And we've talked a lot about Tyrese Halliburton and comparing him to Cade Cunningham and everything that he's not, everything that Cade is. And of course, we have the other interdivision rivalry against the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? They've got Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. And then you got the lowly Bulls and they've got Josh Giddey and Kobe White, whatever. And then you also have the Milwaukee Bucks with Damian Lillard, who's often too injured and hasn't really found his mojo since leaving Portland. But it's to say that within our division, I think it's the Central Division, they've been, you know, criticized a lot. The Pacers have been criticized a lot. Yes, facts, Shane, for real. You got to give credit to where credit's due. Um, but I think we really got to reflect upon what Tyrese Halliburton is showing us that's so antithetical to what I think the NBA has exemplified for a really, really long time. I don't think we've seen a dominant pass first point guard probably since Steve Nash. That was probably the last time we've seen an MVP candidate worthy pass first point guard. I mean, I think we've seen Chris Paul. Chris Paul was pretty dominant with the Los Angeles Clippers. Um, but for the most part, I think the NBA has gotten really entrenched in these heliocentric, ball dominant guards. Seeing Derrick Rose come on the scene was just a shock to the system. The wow factor. He was just a tremendous player, athlete. Then you have John Wall. He was definitely a distributor, a great passer in his own right in his day. Probably did the best job of combining passing facilitation and dominant speed and athleticism. And then you have the Russell Westbrooks, and of course you get to the Stephen Currys and guys of that sort. And then of course the James Hardens and Damian Lillards and everyone else kind of follows. But you can see this trend towards this ball dominance, shoot first, pass second or later. Uh, and even when they're passing, many times they're dominating the ball so much, like a Luka Doncic. Everyone just kind of sits around, waits, and watches, and it really does slow down the game. It's funny because there was a quote I had just watched with Kobe Bryant, and he was saying how he was giving a uh, not a critique, but he was sharing his thoughts on James Harden's uh, play style. And at the time, James Harden was on the Houston Rockets with Chris Paul, and Kobe was still with us. And he's in this interview with Tracy McGrady. He's responding to James Harden's style, and he says, I don't think you can win a championship with that style because in the playoffs, it allows the defense to stay in front of you, to anticipate, and to force you into probably your least favorable option. And that plays into the defense's hands over and over. And I don't think you can win a championship that way. But he also said James Harden is doing some phenomenal things in the NBA and he applauds his talent and his giftings and his skill. And he said you probably can't win a championship in that way. Now, of course, we know that um, you know, no two situations are the same, right? James Harden's heliocentric offense was not the same as, let's say, Stephen Curry. A full system built around Steph, shooters around him with Clay Thompson, and then kind of deferring those point guard facilitation duties to guys like Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala. And even Andrew Bogut had some really good facilitation skills, right? Which is why I think the Warriors might go after Steven Adams or somebody like that or Brooke Lopez. I digress. All to say is different situations change. LeBron James, who's probably one of the more dominant point guards, point forwards, all around everything superstars we've ever seen. He definitely dominates the ball, especially in the fourth quarters and closeout times and in the finals. And he has great efficiency, and his usage rate skyrockets. And James Harden has this incredibly high usage rate. But I want to read to you a usage rate that just got shared on Ryan Russillo's podcast. He just dropped. I forget the brother he had on there with him, um, but he gave this statistic that I was just kind of floored by. I was kind of floored by it. He said that in the playoffs, Tyrese Haliburton has a 22% usage rate. 22. And he's comparing that to the Russell Westbrooks who get close to 40 or was over 40 during his MVP seasons. The James Hardens and Luka Doncic who are well into the 30s. And he's looking at these other prototypical point guards that we think of as great point guards who are leading teams, who we think these point guards could be the best player on the championship team. And their usage rate is sometimes 15% higher than Tyrese Haliburton. I know to the average fan that may not seem like a lot, but I always say, like, for every shot you take, someone else is not taking a shot. Every time that you have the ball, someone else doesn't. And what I recognize is that one of the superpowers of Tyrese Haliburton is his approach to the game. If you listen to what his teammates say about him, even from coming out of Iowa State, I believe it is, or University of Iowa, one of the two, coming out of college, his teammates rave about Tyrese Haliburton, his leadership, his selflessness, his infectiousness for the game. You just love playing with him. And it's something that they just constantly said about him. This is who he is. This is who he is. It's a guy that you're going to love to have the ball in his hands because you know he's looking for you. You know he can't wait to give you the ball and set you up for an opportunity to score or even just to find you when you're open. It's not even just that Tyrese Halliburton is finding guys when they're open. He also has an acute awareness of situation. He's not giving a guy the ball when they should not have the ball, right? He's not giving, and sometimes he does. He'll give a guy the ball, with 4 seconds left, 5 seconds left, and it might be someone like Miles Turner, and it gives him an opportunity to do something with it. But he's definitely open. He's not giving it to him when he's guarded. But he has this combination of selflessness with a high awareness of game situation. He's reading the game at an incredibly high level, and he doesn't hesitate to let go of the ball. And I think of how many times last season, as we were seeing Asar Thompson come on for the Detroit Pistons, I would watch Point Asar Thompson look phenomenal and Cade Cunningham look amazing off the ball. And then all of a sudden you see Cade go back to dominating the ball and then subsequently freezing out Asar Thompson, sticking him in a corner. And I'm like, wait, didn't you see that this worked with you off the ball and Asar bringing it up and he's more involved and guys are flowing now more and it's like it's a way of reading the game that includes everybody on the court and is aware of each player's role, potential, and impact throughout the game. Tyrese Halliburton reads the game at such a high level. Like it's one of those things, only a few great point guards do this, right? Whether it's LeBron, whether it's Magic Johnson, whether it's Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, they know all their players. They know them in and out. They know their strengths, their weaknesses, where they like the ball, where they don't like the ball, what their potential is, their abilities, um, how to get them engaged, what gets them confident. There was times where I saw Tyrese Haliburton give an entry pass to Miles Turner, and he had missed a couple that they weren't low. He just needed to release and grab it, and he's just been a little bit tight throughout these playoffs. And so he struggled with reaching down and getting the entry pass to collect it and to be able to go up. But Tyrese Haliburton passes it to him on the bounce. Miles Turner catches the ball, turns, finishes, but then he turns to Halliburton and he points to him. And he's like, "Hey, throw it up." And Halliburton doesn't even respond to it. He doesn't even look at it. He's just like, "Yeah, okay, sure, yeah, yeah, sure, sure." almost and not so much patronizing. He's not, belittling Miles Turner, but he knows him sometimes even better than his teammates know themselves. And he's like, "Yo, I know if I throw this up top, you're not gonna get this ball over Chet Holmgren or Isaiah Hartenstein. You're not strong enough. You're not physical enough at times. And the safest place to give it to you, for you to have an opportunity to score, is actually on the bounce in this situation, based upon who you have on you." It's one thing to lead players. It's another thing to lead men who have egos, who have contracts, who have families to support, who have a lot riding on plays and situations and circumstances. It's one thing to lead them. It's another thing to lead them in a way where they trust you because you are constantly putting them in a position to succeed. How Tyrese Haliburton is reminding us of what leadership can look like from your best player at the point guard position, I think is a breath of fresh air. That's the direction I'm going with this. It's a breath of fresh air. It is something that is too often not seen, ignored, forgotten about. How powerful it can be utilizing your leadership with the pass, getting guys involved. And let's be clear, it's not without Tyrese Halliburton also recognizing his need to score and stay aggressive in opportunities as well. One of the things that empowers him is his ability to see pass and shot at the same time. It's a rare quality. It's something I wish Cade and Ivy and other guys could progress in. It's something that, Trey Young, um, Darius Garland, these guys have mastered. They see shot and pass at the same time. They see all five, or I should say, all four other offensive players. They see the defense. They know the scheme. They know our system, and they know where everybody needs to get the ball, where they can get it. They know their players, but they also don't forget about themselves, right? Sometimes that's something that we malign with Cade Cunningham and his potential, where we're like, "Hey, bro, I appreciate your facilitation right now, but you can tell mentally you're so locked into facilitating, you forgot we also need you to score." And then when you're locked into scoring, it's almost like you forgot to just keep other guys involved and facilitate. And then when you try to make a pass, when you're in score mode, you're making errant passes, or you're so stuck in pass mode that the defense can crowd you, knowing that you're not trying to create your own shot and score. Right. So it's a delicate balance that few guys are able to maintain. Tyrese Halliburton is not redefining the position, but he's repopularizing a style for the position. Right. This is what they call a traditional point guard. A traditional, what they want to say is pass first, but really it's an awareness of, I have four other guys I'm responsible for, along with this team's success. The plays I'm making are with the outlook of the team's best success. Even if it's calling my number to take a shot, it's just as much a part of this team's success as giving the ball to someone else in a position to score. Now, the power within that, it was something that I remember I always held on to what Chris Paul said. He said, if I get everyone else going in the first half, it makes the game incredibly easy for me to take over in the second. I can get my shot at will against the defense in the second half because they're so concerned about my passing ability that they're frozen to their man. When you saw Tyrese Halliburton take that last moment shot at the end of game one in the NBA Finals, if you look at his eyes, he's actually looking at Pascal Siakam. He's driving into a gap, right? This is a you know a learning moment if you don't already know this. That attacking gaps is just as effective as attacking the basket. If you can attack a gap as if it is the basket, forcing a defender to have to choose as a help defender to come over to you because you're now open in this gap for a pull up jump shot or stick to their man, it puts them in a position where now it creates an advantage. Either you have an open pull up jump shot or you have a man open from the help defender who's left. This is what Tyrese Halliburton does constantly. The threat of his pass puts the defense in compromised positions constantly. The fact that he's doing that with a 22% usage rate is absolutely crazy. Is absolutely crazy. That means his effectiveness with the ball in his hands is so high, is so high at all times that he doesn't need to dominate the ball to be dominant throughout the game. He didn't have to have a 50-point game, a 40-point game to have a dominant game, right? Last night, the reason why Tyrese Haliburton could be the man in that moment is because of how he plays the game. I, I made a quote before. He plays the game the right way, almost on crack. He is so locked into the system, the needs, his teammates, the plan, the strategy, and he's so selfless that at times his selflessness is as impactful as his scoring ability, and his scoring ability is, at this point, we have to relent, is outright elite. He is every bit elite as a scorer, as a SGA, Cade Cunningham. And I know that we might look at his shot package, his bag, the shots he goes to and say, like, hey, it's nowhere near what these guys can do. That's true, but it doesn't matter. If you can get off the same shots over and over at will, and there's nothing the defense can do about it, it doesn't matter if you have 15 more moves. That's not a necessity anymore. You don't need 10, 15 plus moves to go to in a quote unquote bag if your 3 to 4 moves work every single time. Tyrese Haliburton is as effective of a scorer as the best scorers in the league. He's proving to be as effective as Luka Doncic, as LeBron James, as Cade Cunningham, as Ja Morant, as Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I see we're giving Piston fans the talk. Yeah, bro, we have to. Facts. Why was good, man. Facts. One thing about Hallie, he he did the game so well, never forced anything, and almost always makes the right read every time. People don't understand how dangerous that is. People don't understand how dangerous it is to read the game at a high level, to play the game at such a high level that everyone on defense cannot key in on you. In fact, they're keying in on you, meaning trying to gear up to stop you, to position themselves to stop you, means that they have to pay that much more attention to their defender. Those defenders are almost frozen in place. They're frozen. They don't know if they should stick with their defender and leave you open, or they should come and double you, attack you, and then leave their man open. Because here's the thing, if you leave your man to double Halliburton, to help on Halliburton, he's not only going to get them the ball, he's going to get them the ball exactly where they need it so that it takes the least amount of time for them to go right into their shot, which means that your man now gets going. Your man now is getting hot. Your man is knocking down shots, a la Aaron Nesmith against the New York Knicks, Andrew Nembhard, Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner, Thomas Bryant, Obi Toppin, right? These guys are able to get going because they know that they're as much a part of this team. People don't understand how talented the NBA is. These guys have talent. A lot of times they are deferring their talent to an elite scorer. They're saying, you know what, I'm going to play off of you, or at least our scheme, our system, my contract says I have to play off of you. The coach, the front office says I have to play off of this guy that we're trying to make into an all-star, all-NBA player. Almost like the Detroit Pistons did this season. Hey, this is going to be the season of Cade Cunningham. I'm not saying it was wrong to do that, but it was a solid, decided decision. This was going to be the season of Cade Cunningham. This is going to be the season where everything revolves around him. He's going to be heliocentric. We're going to try to move the ball around, dribble handoffs, all that stuff, but it's Cade's world. And so everyone deferred, and they had to learn to play around Cade Cunningham. Once again, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying Tyrese Haliburton is repopularizing a different brand and style of being a dominant championship potential winning point guard that you don't necessarily need to make your point guard this dominant heliocentric player. That's no longer how we're going to define dominance. We're no longer going to define dominance from the point guard position by how many points you're scoring. We're going to start looking at efficiency. We're going to start looking at wins and losses. We're going to start looking at how well do you make other players better, right? This is funny. If you really go back into the annals of the NBA and check history, right? Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, dominant players in their own right, very different, very different. But both of them played within a system. Both of them played with the outlook of deferring to their teammates, not so much deferring in terms of taking big shots and in big moments, but everyone was eating. Kevin McHale, Dennis Johnson, Robert Parrish, right? Danny Ainge. Everyone ate in Boston. Everyone is eating in Los Angeles. James Worthy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? Dennis Scott, AC Green, right? Tom Chambers. Everyone's eating. Coop, right? Michael Cooper, right? Everyone eats. Then you have Isaiah Thomas and the Bad Boy Pistons, Joe Dumars, John Sally, right? You've got Bill Lambier. You got I forgot the other enforcer's name, but you got Dennis Rodman. You got uh, uh, Vinny Johnson, the microwave, right? You got all these guys. They're eating. Everyone eats within the system, and then you have Michael Jordan come along, and he's absolutely dominating the game for the Chicago Bulls. And all three superstars, Isaiah Thomas, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, all said the same thing Kobe said about James Harden. You can't win championships that way. Now, to be fair, Jordan was able to prove them different, but let's also be aware of in order to do that, he had to shift how he played, right? We all know the story. Phil Jackson comes in and he says, Yo, Mike, we're not going to win with you being this heliocentric offensive talent. We're not. You're going to look great, right? Larry Bird's going to call you, God in the playoffs when you drop 60 points in the Garden. You're going to see Vernon Maxwell call you Black Jesus, right? You're just absolutely amazing out there to watch, and you're not going to win championships. And then the Chicago Bulls lucked out and grabbed Scottie Pippen, the ultimate point forward, be a point of attack defender, amazing in transition, team leader, facilitator. And they would construct one of the more dominant periods of basketball throughout the 90s within the triangle offense, playing within the system. Tyrese Haliburton is repopularizing what it means to play as a part of a system, right? LeBron James was the system. We get it. That's a testament to his greatness. But even then, he's making people better. He made people better. They never had more success than when they played with LeBron James. They were never able to reach the heights. They were never able to be as efficient, as effective, prolong their careers, right? Ray Allen had a new lease on life going to Miami, right? These guys, even if they didn't score as much, their efficiency shot through the roof. Their PERS shot through the roof playing with LeBron James. Playing a part of a system is incredibly important. Let me get to some of these comments. I believe, in my humble opinion, I think at age 23, Cade can be better than Halliburton or SGA the next 2 years or so. Uh, but we need the right teammates to play their roles on the Pistons. But here's the thing: Cade Cunningham has to let them play their roles. Like, that's a huge difference. When Asar Thompson showed he could be extremely effective playing the point forward position, when he showed he was able to be a point forward, how many times did we see Cade Cunningham pass the ball ahead to Asar Thompson and allow him to run with the ball. I can recount countless times. I'm sitting there staring at the screen and like begging Cade, pass the ball, bro. Pass it early. Why are you bringing the ball up slowly in transition when you've got guys ahead of you already running the break? When you watch Tyrese Haliburton, he has no qualms in getting that ball out of his hands. He does not hesitate for a moment to get the ball out of his hands. There is no hesitation. He's not there's no ego. I'm not saying Cade has an ego. I'm saying well, I'm sure he does to some degree, and so does Halliburton. But it's to say his ego does not require Tyrese Halliburton's ego does not require him to have the ball. He is as much feeding his desire to win and for success in passing the ball to his teammates as he is having the ball in his hands, taking a shot or creating a shot. That's a rare quality. If Cade Cunningham is to become a championship level team leader, because I don't think he's a natural point guard. I think he's a player who can play point. There's a big difference. He's not a natural floor general. He doesn't always see the whole floor while being in the system and seeing his shot and his ability to create his own shot at the same time. That's not really what he does. Um, but he's still a phenomenal passer, playmaker. Just says he just doesn't have that one mental mechanism, and I don't think that he develops that. That's not something you pick up in the NBA. Either you're a floor general or you're not. He's not a floor general, but he is an awesome uh, passer, facilitator, playmaker. He just doesn't have that mechanism, and that plays a big part. But Cade Cunningham is going to have to empower his teammates by being just as willing to have the ball in his hands as he does not having the ball in his hands. If he's going to get to the level of NBA finals, he's going to have to be that type of a player. And it doesn't mean you pass the ball and stand around. And this is something else that we see from Tyrese Haliburton. He's constantly passing and moving, pass and move. We saw with James Harden, one of the big things that teammates were frustrated by, especially Chris Paul when he had opportunity to win a championship with the Houston Rockets, is he was saying like, bruh, just because you pass, it doesn't mean that you just stand there. Move. Go set a screen. Cut. Right? Relocate. If I'm creating a shot, move with me. Right? Like keep playing the game. Don't just stand around. When you see Tyrese Halliburton, he passes that ball, he's immediately cutting. He's immediately moving, relocating, getting out of there, maintaining spacing, coming back to the ball, dribble handoff, getting the ball, passing the ball, coming back to it, running away from it, coming back again, going to the corner. He's constantly moving. His style of play, man, it is redefining for this generation, for this iteration of NBA fandom and critics and pundits who are talking about what it means to be a dominant MVP level point guard. He's redefining what it looks like to be dominant. Because now, when you see SGA have what 36 points last night, scoring at will, and yet Tyrese Halliburton, what do you have? 16 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, and the game-winning shot. Oh, so you can be dominant and potentially the best player in a game and not score the most? That's possible. And let's be clear, I don't see Tyrese Halliburton scoring less than this for the rest of the series. I think it only goes up from here. I think he edges away those turnovers. A lot of them turn into assists. And he's back at what he looked like against the New York Knicks. I think he's redefining for this era what a great point guard looks like. Let me get into some other stats here. There's a stat that they read in the postseason, 15 seconds or less in regulation or overtime. For that last second shot, that pressure shot, 15 seconds or less in the game or in overtime. The league, the league in the postseason is shooting 4 of 27. 4 of 27. 4 of 27. I believe that's somewhere around, was that 12%, 13% from the field shooting. Tyrese Haliburton is 5 for 5, bro. 5 for 5. He doesn't miss with 15 seconds or less. He doesn't miss. Thank you. Less than 15%. He doesn't miss, bro. Think about that. Like think about Russell Westbrook had a 40% usage rate during his MVP campaigns when he's averaging a triple double. 40%. Nobody else was touching the ball unless it was catch and shoot, catch and dunk. Luka Doncic. How many of the guys are standing around watching? James Harden. And then you see Tyrese Haliburton with a 22% usage rate. 22%. And shooting 100% when it matters the most. Wow. Wow. When we start talking about the best player in the game, when we start talking about the best point guards in the game, we are going to have to start utilizing these new factors for defining the positions and for defining what greatness looks like. We're going to have to start redefining how we view the game, how we're watching it. And I think that these moments, I know the NBA is a copycat league, and I hate that. I think it's foolish to try to copy somebody else because there's only one Tyrese Haliburton. But you can learn, you can glean, you can improve based upon what someone else is showing you. And what Tyrese Haliburton is showing you is that as you get your team going, it makes the game easier for you. And when you are able to read the game at a high level, you can be extremely effective even if you don't have the ball in your hands all the time. To be great, you don't need to be ball dominant. And I know that seems antithetical to a lot of our thinking because Steph, right? John Wall, Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, right? John Morant, even guys like Trey Young, Jalen Brunson, right? These popular point guards, these popular lead guards always have the ball in their hands. And yet, for the first time, someone is telling us actually there's another way to do this. And you can get to the NBA finals and win game one on the road. Into some of these comments because this is an interactive chat. Um, I saw a breakdown with Tyrese about how he rarely ever holds onto the ball for a long time. Bro, there is something about that. When you're passing that ball and getting rid of it, when you're trusting your teammates and allowing them to make plays, what it does is it puts the defense on their heels. It forces them to relent to they cannot just key in on you. And here's the important thing, it empowers your teammates. It empowers your teammates to play at their best because they know that their best player believes in them and is looking for them, right? Austin Reeves oftentimes talks about how confident he became when in training camp, LeBron James saw him hit a couple shots and all of a sudden went up to him and was like, yo, man, keep shooting that. Keep shooting. You better shoot that ball. How much confidence that just breathed into him. When you're that best player, when you're the lead, and you keep finding your teammates, not at the undermining of your own game, not you not taking shots anymore, as if they have to become the best player on the court now, because that defers the pressure you should have onto them. But it says that, hey, I'm going to get mine in the flow of things, but I trust you as much as I trust me. I trust you to make the plays that you believe you can do, even when you mess up. Right? You don't ever see Tyrese Haliburton getting on his teammates and being like, "Oh man, I can't believe you dropped the ball. Oh man, I can't believe you missed the shot. I don't want to pass you the ball because you suck." Right? He's not doing that. He's leading by showing his faith in his teammates. by his willingness to let go of the ball. Was good, Sandro. Question: if the Pacers win the finals, is it the biggest finals upset in NBA finals history? It's top 5 for me, but I want to know your opinion. Huge fan, man. Keep doing your thing. Appreciate it, man. Um, no, I don't think it's one of the greatest upsets. If you saw statistically, the Indiana Pacers were second to only the Oklahoma City Thunder in terms of record in the second half of the season after the All-Star break. They were one of the best teams in the NBA because they had actually gotten healthy. Remember, they weren't healthy for the first half of the season. Once they got healthy, they went on this run. They got Aaron Nesmith back, right? They got who else was out for a little bit? Andrew Nemhard was out for a little bit. I want to say Matherin was out, right? They had a bunch of guys. They dealt with James Wiseman's injury at the beginning of the season. Isaiah Jackson went down. They had a lot of injuries, a lot in the first half of the season. But when they got healthy, I keep telling you guys, one of the greatest factors for deciding a team's long-term success throughout a season is their health. As soon as I see a team that's not healthy and they're having a string of just bad luck and guys getting hurt, I just kind of turn away and stop watching. And I just go, there's no reason to evaluate this team right now. Now, maybe if they switch into playing younger guys and now we see how the young guys develop and stuff like that, but that's a different lens of watching the game. I do enjoy watching with that lens as well. But it's just to say, when a team has a bunch of injuries, like the Pistons did last year, I'm not evaluating the team because of the injuries. Because if you're hurt, you're not winning. So when the Pacers got healthy and they went on that run, I go, oh, yeah, that's the team we saw make a run to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. There they go. Halliburton's healthy. Pascal, Turner, Nemhard, Neesmith, all healthy. McConnell, Matherin, Shepard, all healthy. And this team won without Jarris Walker, who I think is probably their most talented defender in terms of versatility guarding 1 through 5. Right? Now, this is what we're seeing. So no, I don't think this is one of the greatest upsets in NBA history. Um, coming back from 3-1 deficit was probably one. Uh, the Houston Rockets. I mean, I wouldn't call it an upset, but to be able to call out fo, right? That's my man Big Mo, Moses Malone from the Houston Rockets, who went to the Philadelphia 76ers and got Dr. J his championship after the merger, and called it out. Fo. That's one of the biggest. Whoever calls out fo, we're sweeping through to the finals, and he almost pulled it off. Only lost one game, right? Like that. That was incredible. So stuff like that. Um, those are bigger upsets to me. Tyrese Haliburton still overrated. For I might be better than Tyrese. I can make that shot for real. Yeah, no. People underestimate his talent because and I understand it. What they're looking for is something different. What they're literally looking for is something different. That's why they don't notice the things that he does. Right? They didn't notice as he's attacking the basket for that last second shot. And I mentioned this earlier, how he freezes that help defender, how he completely froze that help defender. I believe it was Alex Caruso guarding Pascal Siakam, and Halliburton is attacking Case and Wallace. And you see in this attack, not only does he get to the right spot, but he gets there definitively. It's not 5, 10, 15 dribbles. It's not him going in, out, crossover, step back, step back. He's getting to a high quality shot directly, not wasting dribbles or time, not allowing the defense to key in on him while still being aware of his options. He's literally looking at Pascal Siakam making a backdoor cut. And then he still sees the basket out of the side of his eyes using that peripheral vision. He knows exactly where the basket is. So when he gets to the spot, he knows exactly what his options are. And he's just as willing to pass to Pascal Siakam on the cut to make the shot with the trust in his teammate as he is in pulling up and shooting that shot himself. And he knocks it down. That's incredible, bro. It's because he could have 10 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and still be the most valuable player on the floor. And most people think um, can't see that. But why did people thought that he was overrated? Well, because I mean, it wasn't. He doesn't play a stereotypical style. He doesn't play a stereotypical style for this era. For this era, Joby, I'm sorry I missed your comment here. The thing is, that's where so many of Cade's turnovers come from as well, from holding on to it for too long. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Classic 76. I have nothing constructive to say about Halliburton because his cocky face irritates me. LOL. Good content as usual. I appreciate that, Classic. Appreciate that. Smash the like button for me. Um, it definitely helps the channel out, lets YouTube algorithm know you appreciate the live interactive content. Um, I appreciate it, Joe B. Uh, Ray Floyd was good, my man. But our players need to learn how to cut to the basket. Cade has to battle out of double teams too much. But here's the thing: if you cut to the basket, you have to understand basketball, right? I'm pretty sure you've played the game. If you ever played with somebody where you've cut and they didn't find you on the cut, how confident are you to cut again? Because remember, many times cutting to the basket, if you don't get the ball, completely takes you out of the play. If you don't get the ball, you're probably not going to see the ball again. You have to have a lot of confidence in your system, in your team, in your coach, in your star player who has the ball, that they're not only going to find you, but they're looking for you. Asar Thompson is one of the better off ball cutters. Jaden Ivey is amazing at cutting off the ball, especially on the weak side. Jalen Duren ducks in. But here's the thing: if Cade has the ball in his hands and it's sticking to his hands, meaning that he's dribbling the air out of the ball. One of the things that I hate, oh my goodness, such bad basketball, is when the guy who brings the ball up takes a long time, takes a whole lot of seconds out of the shot clock, and then is the one to take the shot. It's one of the worst offensive possessions you can have. I don't even care if it goes in. If you're bringing the ball up and no one else touches the ball and you shoot the ball, that is one of the worst offensive possessions you can have. What it does is it takes everyone else out of the flow. No one else is in flow. No one else is in rhythm. No one else is ready. You know how hard it is to stay ready to catch the ball and shoot the ball, catch the ball, make a decision, drive to the basket, attack your man, remember the scouting report of how to attack this particular defender that's on you in this moment and what your strengths are and how you can effectively help the team. How hard it is to keep all of that in your mind in real time when you don't get the ball, when you don't get shots up throughout the course of the game. Sometimes it's weird to see Jalen Duren play 30 some odd minutes and he ends the game with 4 shot attempts. Attempts, attempts, attempts. Cade Cunningham has to become more of a floor general. That is where Tyrese Haliburton is separating himself from Cade Cunningham. Being a floor general. To be a floor general means you understand the schemes, your players, timing, and you have a willingness to execute your scheme through getting everyone involved. And you're able to do that meticulously in real time while also maintaining keeping yourself involved in the game offensively in terms of scoring as well. That's what it means to be a floor general. Cade has to develop that, or they need to do it by committee. Though the person I think who's best skilled at that and naturally does that is probably Asar Thompson, who had 6'7", 7-foot wingspan. His athleticism can see over the top of the defense. And with his speed, he's able to keep the defense off of him, which means he has the ability to make a lot of really effective passes without the pressure of the defense because they're so worried about him getting downhill. All that's to say is Tyrese Haliburton is reminding us why it's so special to be a point guard of his nature. There's a reason why Jason Kidd took his uh, not Brooklyn Nets, New Jersey Nets at the time to the NBA Finals 2 years in a row against the Lakers and the Spurs. He lost both times, but he dragged the team to the finals who had no business being there. Todd McCullough, Kenyon Martin, RJ, Richard Jefferson, Kerry Kittles, those guys. They had no business being in the NBA Finals. None. Anthony Johnson, uh, even when he had Matumbo for 1 year, they had no business being in the finals. But he made them better. Tyrese Haliburton is popularizing a style of basketball and leadership that we haven't seen in a long time. I think Nikola Jokic gets away with it because we go like, well, I get it. He's not athletic and he's playing a more Euro style. And so we anticipate doing a little savvy passing and stuff like that. Sure. Okay. I guess. Now, Tyrese Haliburton passes the ball because it's fun for him. That's his style. And I get it. He seems annoying. He's our version of a love child between Reggie Miller and Steve Nash. Nobody liked Steve Nash winning those MVPs, especially over Kobe. Me, I was pissed. That's why Kobe dunked on him in the first round of the playoffs. Right? There was no reason he should have got it twice in a row. Reggie Miller. Nobody wanted to see Reggie Miller beat the Knicks, beat the Bulls to go to the NBA Finals. Nobody wanted to see that. And yet he kept doing it. Reggie was annoying as hell. And Tyrese Halliburton is just our version of that. We can hate it, but damn it, if it's not effective, if it's not allowing his team to play at such a high level, his teammates play with so much confidence around him. And that really is going to be something that we're going to see if Cade Cunningham can elevate to that level of leadership. Can he become that level of a leader, facilitator, ball handler, um, exhibiting that level of unselfishness? Because it's an extreme level of unselfishness to get rid of the ball in a moment, right? You can see when Tyrese Halliburton has the ball in his hands, he's not he doesn't have the mindset of wanting to hold on to the ball. He's not trying to keep the ball in his hands, right? He's not staring down the basket. He's looking for his teammates the whole time. He knows the scheme. He knows the pick and roll he's going to run, the dribble handoff. He knows the play set. He knows who he's trying to get open. He knows who they're trying to get the ball to, posting up, coming off the screen, downhill, the mismatches. He's looking at all of that. And he just makes the right decision. He can't wait. It's not even an anxious thing. It's just that's his style. So when we start thinking about the best point guards in the league, yeah, Luca, you're really good. John Moran, I'm not taking anything from you. SGA, depending upon who wins this series, it's going to say a lot. Cade Cunningham, Darius Garland. It's a lot of good point guards. LaMelo Ball, I mean, sure. You know how I feel about LaMelo. But then you get to Tyrese Haliburton. It's special. SSB, what's good, man? What's good, man? Just wrapping up, man. If you got any points you want to make, comments you want to share about Tyrese Haliburton, now's the time to do it. Um, they stand at the 3-point line too much, and they aren't good shooters. Are you talking about the Detroit Pistons? Because I'll say this: Jaden Ivey shot 40% from three. Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley shot extremely well from three. And your willingness to pass is not always about passing to an open 3-point shooter. Sometimes it's about getting the ball at the right time to the right guy, knowing someone like Jalen Duren has only had 3 shot attempts and it's going into the fourth quarter. Why is he not posting up? Right? Like these are different things that Dennis Schroeder used to see. He would be like, no, Duren, you've got a small on you. Post up. I'm going to give you the ball exactly where you are supposed to get it. So you could just turn and score and shoot over the top. Right? No, no, don't come pick and roll, screen me when you have the mismatch. Asar Thompson, don't just sit in the corner, cut through. Right? He's orchestrating things. while seeing his own shot. So I think with Cade, that's the next level for him to get to. That and he needs to simplify getting into his shots. When you watch SGA, he doesn't take a lot of dribbles or Tyrese Haliburton, a lot of dribbles, a lot of moves to get to his shot. When he's trying to get to that spot, he gets to that spot. A quick little in and out, and he's there. Pull up. He's there. Pass. He's there. Counter. Right? It's simple. Cade Cunningham's scoring many times is anything but simple. It looks good. He makes it work. He hits a lot of shots. Ability and efficiency are two different things. In the flow of the offense, it's two different things. If you have to take everyone out of the offense for you to get yours, I think that's where the New York Knicks messed up. Jalen Brunson would be getting his, and everyone else was iced out. Jalen Brunson sits on the bench, everyone else gets involved. And then they come roaring back. You got to be able to find balance. And that's going to be a challenge for JB Bickerstaff next year with all these new talents. Um, Let me see. SSB just tuned in, but what do you think? Holly is a superstar. I think he just needs consist. I think he is a superstar. I think he is a superstar. He is validating that claim for superstardom. Look, I get it's a quirky style. It's awkward. It's not what we're accustomed to seeing. His impact on the game is undeniable. 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 And I can say that without taking anything away from any of his teammates. Pascal Siakam was deserving of his Eastern Conference playoff MVP, um, every bit. And it has nothing to take away from how good Tyrese Haliburton has been. He has been a beast. He's been dominant. He has been someone that we have had to reckon with series after series after series, checking off Giannis, checking off who they faced in the second round. Was the Cleveland Cavaliers or somebody like that? Yeah, the Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell, check. Jalen Brunson, check. And now SGA. He is a superstar. Is what it is. Is what it is. It's good, Ace. Let me see. Do you think the Pistons would have beat the Knicks if they had their second leading scorer, Jaden Ivey? I think they would have, most likely or not. Yes. Yes, 100%. 100%. I think that's how much confidence I have in this Detroit Pistons team. That's how much I actually believe in this roster. The big question will be, can JB Bickerstaff develop an offensive system and a defensive system that maximizes their talents and allows it all to gel together? Because what we're seeing in the NBA finals, that's what makes a championship team. It all works together. You've maximized the talent. Rick Carlisle and the Indiana Pacers have squeezed every ounce of talent out of that roster. Ben Shepherd, movement shooter, defender. TJ McConnell. Oh my goodness. Obi Toppin. Right? What are we talking about here? Obi Toppin. Extreme played big, huge for them in an NBA finals. Miles Turner is finding himself again. Pascal Siakam didn't even have the best game, was still extremely effective. Aaron Neesmith, he's rejuvenated his career in Indiana. Why do you think the New York Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau? Because he was not maximizing the talent. Sure, you can get by playing a lot of minutes to your starters and tell them to play hard, come up with defensive schemes, sure. But if you can't get my five best players to be able to play at a maximum when you need it the most, when it comes down to winning, if you cannot develop a scheme to integrate all those talents, all five players' talents at the same time, we know that you cannot get us to that promised land. And that's always been the case with Tom Thibodeau, which is why I question why people still bring him in as a head coach. I would bring him in as an assistant. If I have an offensive minded coach, great. Coach that's great with people, players, right? Like Tom Thibodeau should go to the Golden State Warriors and coach that defense, right? That should have always been his role. He should have never been a head coach, in my opinion. Let me see. SSB, Steve Kerr on Team USA didn't even take a look at Hallie. He didn't even play that much during the Olympics. You're right. But you also know how I feel about Steve Kerr. I don't consider him to be a really good coach at best. At best, he's an average coach. At best, his X's and O's, substitutions, rotations, schemes. I think most of his schemes he comes up with, I doubt, are coming from him. I think they're coming from his assistant coaches, and they go into halftime and come out with something. Writing up plays, stuff like that. He's not an X's and O's guy. He's just not that. He's not that good of a coach, if I'm honest with you. You take Stephen Curry off that team, he's not the guy. He should have never been coaching that team USA over Tyronn Lue and Eric Spoelstra. I thought that was disgraceful. Just as a basketball head, as someone who's coached, who loves the game, that was dishonest. It was disgraceful. It's just sad. And no wonder Tyrese Haliburton sitting there on the bench, Jason Tatum sitting on the bench, right? He tried to fit people into his Golden State Warriors look because that's all he knows, right? That's all he knew. That team had so much potential, so much potential. They should have been blowing people out all the way through, all the way through. Let me see. Why do you think so many Piston fans want to trade Ivy? Because most Piston fans who are commenting are probably casuals, have a limited understanding of the game, have recency bias, right? They only really recognize the second half of the season, probably didn't watch that much of the first half, only caught highlights on YouTube, maybe the little, if we're lucky, the 10-minute game instead of the, 3-minute game recap. Um, Looked at a stat sheet, stuff like that, and that's how they're assessing players' value and the outlook of a team. They get caught up in a lot of these narratives around what teams need and trying to do a copycat thing. Well, how do we make Cade look like Luca? Because that looks like that's a success for winning. How do we make this team look like this team? Right? That's a lot of people get caught up in that. I think the more you learn about the game, the more you have to distance yourself from opinions, and I struggle with it too. I'd be on X arguing the hell out of people. Be like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" That's why I do these videos, so I don't have to argue with people who's just like, "Okay, you just don't know what you're talking about," or we're just in two different places when it comes to talking about the game. Um, but Ivy should 100% be on this team next year. I think he's going to be a great 1B. I think he's Captain America to, or he's more Iron Man to Cade Cunningham's Captain America. Asar Thompson is going to be Thor. Jalen Duran is going to be the Hulk. All right, I think they're going to be a Marvel cast, not a 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think it's Batman, Robin, Alfred, etc. All right, that's I think there's more parity, and they have very diverse talents and skill sets. So I have a lot of faith in these Detroit Pistons moving forward. Coming up on my time, I think I'm gonna hop off in a little bit. Let me see. Thibs should have been fired. Facts. I'm honestly glad we didn't win against the Knicks. I think the Pistons were ahead of schedule, and beating the Knicks would have set us back because current roster construction isn't ready to close. I agree with that to an extent too. Sometimes it's easy for people to jump the gun when they have early success before they're really truly ready to sustain that success, and then they begin to um, go all in too early, almost like the Atlanta Hawks did when they had that Eastern Conference run, that Eastern Conference Finals run against the Milwaukee Bucks, where they barely lost. And they were like, "Oh, we're all in," and they were like, "Actually, Cam Reddish still needs to mature. DeAndre Hunter hasn't really proven he can be consistently healthy." And John Collins is still trying to figure out his jump shot. Maybe we're not quite there as much as we think, even though injuries hurt them the most. Some of these other, if I'm missing all these comments, feel free to shoot a super chat and I'll pause and because I got to get off here in a couple seconds. It may push three guys into position. Look at the most championships over the past 20 years. Mark Jackson. Yeah. Thibs never evolved as a coach, in my opinion. He just too little, too late. By the time he was willing to go with a deeper rotation with DeLon Wright, who I actually coached against when he was playing community college here in California. Um, by the time he was willing to go with DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet, it was just too little, too late. You should have been doing that all season. Precious Achua should have gotten more playing time all season and all playoff long. Right? This was a better roster than what it had the opportunity to show. So yeah, he hasn't really evolved as much as he needed to. At this point, they're like, look, we don't have time to wait for you. I don't think it's possible to play like Luca without sacrificing something because it just takes too much energy. Facts. It's a big reason why Luca doesn't play defense. Big reason why he's not doing other things besides just either scoring or passing. Um, I think he will next to LeBron James. I think LeBron James is going to mentor Luca already because Luca has already exclaimed that LeBron is his favorite player of all time. Playing next to a 41-year-old who's in better shape than you, and you're in your early 20s, was he 25, 26? I think it's one of those things where it's like, oh, this is how it's done. Oh, this is why you could go to 8 straight NBA finals. Oh, this is why you have 4 rings. Oh, this is why this league you've been the face of this league for so long, right? I think that whips Luca into shape. Is Jalen Duren replaceable? The asking price is too high. Replaceable by who? Jalen Duren is 21, 22 years old. Who out there is his age with that level of skill and physical ability who can come in and just do what he does already? Who? At his age, that's available, right? Because Evan Mobley is not available. Evan Mobley is better than Duren. He's not available. What 21, 22-year-old big can do what Jalen Duren can do, has shown the ability to do? When you start talking about replaceable, that's what I'm asking you. Not a guy who might be more skilled in only one particular area like Nas Reed or Miles Turner. Yes, they can shoot. Are they better rebounders? No. Are they better rim protectors? No. Are they better defenders? No. Are they better passers? No. Are they better screen setters? Hell no. Are they more athletic? No. Do they have more speed? No. Do they have more potential? No. What else do I gotta say? If you're going to replace a 21-year-old center who has all-star potential, go out and get another 22, 23, 24, early 20s year old who has that potential, who is showing it to the same level, if not more. Remember, Duran is also 6'10 and change with a 7'5 wingspan, 30 some inch vertical, right? Who can also run dribble handoffs, offense at the top of the key, and facilitate. All right. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, the Detroit Avengers for sure. For sure, Bronze. Sandro, so I'm gonna wrap up these last questions. What makes the Pacers special is that everybody does their roles perfectly at that too. That's why I was okay with literally anyone winning the East MVP. They were like the Spurs, not as good, but still very true. Very true. Very true. Couldn't have said it better myself. Definitely Spurs type of system, unselfish. But you got to have an unselfish leader who's also that talented, right? Because you can have a bunch of unselfish guys who aren't talented and they're not going to the NBA finals. You got to have great talent who's also that unselfish. And that's rare. I seen Luca lately at some event in Europe. He looked skinnier. I mean, man, Luca skinny watch is almost like Zion skinny watch. I'll see when the season starts. Uh, the question was asked on the Pistons podcast. That's why I posted it. Oh, for sure, for sure. Are the Pacers and 2011 Mavs comparisons valid? Ooh, because now you're looking at yes, yes. We look at how this team is constructed. Jason Kidd at the point. You got your Jason Terry off the bench. That's your T.J. McConnell. Um, Deshaun Stevenson, your 3 and D wing. That's to an extent Andrew Nemhard. Uh, Neesmith is your Sean Marion, kind of utility defender, athletic, long. Pascal is your Dirk Nowitzki. Not the same ceiling of talent, but similar role. Halliburton shooting, scoring way better than Jason Kidd. And then you've got your rim protecting center, except Miles Turner can shoot. But how they move the ball, how they play with one another. Yep, JJ Barea, the rest. Right. JJ Barea is probably closer to the TJ McConnell comparison. Jason Terry might be more like a Benedict Mathurin, right? But on steroids, shooting a lot of threes, right? I mean, that was an all-time great team. Let's be 100% clear. That Dallas Mavericks team that outcoached, outplayed, out executed, and beat the Miami Heatles with LeBron, D Wade, and Bosh was an all-time great team. All-time great team. Look at the Hall of Famers on that team. Look at the Hall of Famers: Jason Kidd, Sean Marion, Dirk Nowitzki, Defensive Player of the Year, Tyson Chandler, Sixth Man of the Year, Jason Terry. Incredible team. Last one for the day, and they went through the fire to get there. They did. They did. Hey, y'all, I appreciate y'all jumping on with me. If you enjoy this interactive live, smash the like button for me. I got 14 people in this live. Smash the like button for me. It definitely helps out the channel, the YouTube algorithms. It lets them know that you want to be notified the next time I'm live and you want to be able to chop it up with me in a live chat with the content producer doing their shit. You know what I mean? I appreciate y'all. Uh, I'm going to be doing some traveling this weekend, so I may not get back on until maybe like Monday. But stay tuned to these finals. More draft content coming, more player roster content. Appreciate you, Joe B. I'm looking forward to catching y'all next time. I'm gonna holler at you later. Peace.